what's really happening around this campus, huh? I'm Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. So, we got an afternoon show today, and do you know why? Because that freak is back in court. What is going on with my setup here, man? This is absolutely messed up. Hold on one second, folks. I want to be able to see my normal stuff. All right, screw it. It is what it is. All right, everybody. Rick Spicer, how are you? Samantha Askey, good to see you. Hey, Rose Buttamy. Caitlin. Rick Spicer, good to see you. F Scientology, I'm with you on that one. Maria, I'm glad that you're here. B Minor, glad you're here. Kaz, how are you? Leslie Rogers. Greg Trindall, glad you're here, Greg. Rolando Reese, there you are, babe. I like this color. This is one of my favorites. I'm glad you like it. I believe you told me you liked it. Galen, good to see you. Ann Brown, what's happening? Christine Isabel, Incarnasoul, Jane Aldrich, Grammy, good to see you, Grammy. Olive Green, how are you? Stella Pretorius, Millie the Dandelion. All right, people. You know that it's almost like being on Verdict Watch right now. We have you used to be what the hell? Well, I like you. What? You look great either way. Love the, is that a macaw I'm looking at? I think it is. I think that's a macaw. Brian, how are you, man? Good to see you. Greg, good to see you. Tweeter Fakwa. See how I did that? Tweeter Fakwa. Don't try this at home, man. I'm a trained professional. Right? Don't try this crap. Monica, how are you, Monica Larimore? Universal One. What's the verdict? Not yet, my friend. Not yet. We are on standby. We got the camera. We're waiting. It's any second. But let me. I'm going to make my prediction since it hasn't happened yet. You haven't got a good feeling about him getting bail. He's not going to get bail. Yes. My prediction is no bail. That's my prediction. My prediction is no bail. The judge could hold it over the weekend. That's a rare deal, but it could be. That could be the case. That's a prediction, to be sure. Honestly, if he gets bail, Sauron has the ring. In my humble opinion. Hey, Meredith Lynn. In my humble opinion, man, if they let him out on bail, all bets are off. It's a bad sign. Prakash Parmar, how are you? Because it doesn't matter what the defense is arguing. Their argument is, hey, that video doesn't tell the whole picture. You said she was trying to escape from a freak off, and that's not the case. She was just leaving the hotel room because they were in a fight, and this was an abusive relationship. Ann Brown, good to see you. Nappy from Canada. Deborah. Hey, Tommy Stiggs. What's happening, Tommy Stiggs? Good to see you, man. I love it. Hey, if I got a wrench, can we put a link to Tommy Stiggs' social club up there? Tommy's a great channel, man. If you like New York, you like Italian, this is he's your guy. If you like the sound of my voice, you're probably going to love the sound of his. Solid dude, too. A stand-up cat. I don't get to say that very often anymore, man. It's a dying breed. Castro 42, good to see you. Charlotte, what's happening? So here's the deal on this thing, honestly. That Cassie Ventura thing, who cares why she was leaving the hotel room? Who cares? You're beating the crap out of her in the hallway. The argument is you're dangerous. The argument wasn't, if we let you out, you're going to throw a sex party. It's if we let you out, although he would, make no mistake. But if we let him out, we're afraid that he's going to put hands on women because this is a recurring theme with this cat. Right? He believes that this is how you build a loving and caring relationship with the back of your hand. DD Razzle Dazzle. Ain't looking good for him being detained. Been watching Law and Crime. Ann Brown, don't give up hope yet. And they're a little ahead of time, if that's what they're telling you. I mean, the hearing has not officially happened yet. So, Armine, and they got to keep people watching. You know what I'm saying? They got to keep people watching. So you get a bit of they want a little bit of drama. If it holds till Monday, I'm still not worried about it. You got to understand something. What they have on him is, if all they had on him was he decided to try to buy, successfully, 8 other people's phone accounts. Tommy Stiggs knows what I'm talking about. He tried to buy other people's phone accounts so that you can make phone calls without them knowing it's you. In other words, he was circumventing the rules of the prison. But we're supposed to believe if we send him home, right? What judge is going to go, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Do you realize the risk if this asshat gets out and does something stupid, how bad the judge looks? For real, it looks bad. Now, I know that they're unhappy about some of this stuff, but Johnny Scovall, what's happening? Ian from Massachusetts, good to see you. A-Stop Lizzie. Greetings from a very slushy and dreary New York day. Uh-oh, we got some action. The Combs family has exited the building, everybody. The Combs family has exited the building, and we see his mom / aunt / lover. Don't judge me. I'm just repeating it. Right? Allegedly gets into lip locks with his mom, aunt, whatever. Freak off partner. Creepy. The whole family just left, which would lead me to believe that the business inside is wrapped up. Does look like that could be a Monday thing. That's a pretty quick hearing, man. I'd be surprised. Uh-oh, we have cameras. Oh, this is just them camera hustling the family as they get into their $160,000 minivan to head on home. You're right, Universal. What judge would want the accountability for that, man? What judge would want the accountability for that, man? They wouldn't. Yeah, they need a PIN number to make calls. He was using other people's PINs. He was using cell phones, that's right, for three-way calls, doing all kinds of dirt that you're not supposed to do. But if you do this stuff while they can lock your butt up, while they can be looking at you and you're in a unit, right? With all of that crap around, you broke all the rules there. But we're supposed to believe that we're going to let you build a prison in your own house, but you're not going to break the rules. By the way, somebody asked me in an email the other day, how many times can this fool do that? I mean, technically, there isn't anything in the rule books that says you can't do it as many times as you want. I know that that's disturbing, but the judge starts to get really angry. I promise you that. He can't be getting happy if they just continue to do it. Shar, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. He thinks he's getting out? Oh, there's no question he thinks he's getting out. There's no question he thinks he's getting out. Hope springs eternal from the heart of the recently incarcerated. You see, you start believing that, you know what, your lawyer tells you stuff. We got a real good shot at this hearing, man. We got a real good shot, but you got to realize that Diddy got on a plane from California and flew out here to the East Coast, right, to turn himself in. I promise you he did that because, in my humble opinion, his attorney, Agnipolo, said to him, hey, man, come turn yourself in. We'll have you out in a day or two, man. It's not like you're actually going to sit in there. Got $150 million, whatever. We're going to put $50 million up, put the house up as collateral. We got some people that all the passports will get turned in. Do you ever wonder why they wanted all the passports turned in of the whole family? Why would you offer up all of the other passports? I mean, is he going to fly out of town on his kid's passport? Or his mom's passport? Why did they want those? Did you wonder? Because I'll tell you my opinion. My opinion is that all of that offshore money is in families' names, not his. And the judge doesn't want, they wanted to show that we're not going to be able to just run to another country and grab, $40, $50 million out of one of our, savings accounts. What's with the letters? If you mean the letters that were found, if you mean the stuff that was confiscated from his cell, they denied him Star Island. $100K to pay for that video beating of Cassie. First, it was $55K. Yeah, I remember the 50, I think, was the original. Am I wrong on that? I think $50K was the original. He offered $50,000. That's what I heard. But who knows? So, so much of this is just us doing the best we can, right? What if the judge is really good friends with people on those freak-off tapes? Or what if the judge is on it? Then we're really hosed. I have a feeling that that these judges are probably not spending a lot of time with the Hollywood elite. I could be wrong, man. I could be wrong, but double time. Cindy G, thanks for spending a little double time with us. I appreciate that, and I mean that. Judge said he can't be bailed to Florida, so he has to go to an apartment in New York if bailed. Can you imagine? So he's going to rent an apartment to set up his own jail, but he couldn't follow the rules at the jail he was at. And it's got crap loads of people there to watch him. I don't know, man. Yeah, Incarnasoul. You could have it in other forms to be sure. And you can access offshore accounts online to be sure. But you leave a fat ass paper trail that can be tracked online. What people like to do normally is to show up there and take that stuff out in cash. But it's just a theory anyway. No, I agree with you. Sassy Savage, I think, nailed this. This cat thought he was going to be in there tops 48 hours. And he was doing oh man, you know what? That's street cred stuff. I could do 48 hours. Might be able to say I did a little time. This is at this point, you have to realize this. If you're sitting there and thinking to yourself, why would the judge not just summarily go, this is BS, we're never letting your butt out? Are you kidding me? You're a threat to society, you're a freaking menace. The reason that they don't do that is because everything is on the record. You ever hear that? When they go into court and they say, all right, we're on the record in the matter of USA versus Scoville, CR 0551313, that kind of thing. Okay. On the record. That means that if they want to appeal any of this, it is on the record. And it is there for to be looked at and to be judged and to be pulled apart, right? Pulled apart. So they cover their assets. They cover their backside. You heard he got a laptop. I have not heard that from anybody other than people in my chat. When I tried chasing this down, I was unable to find that anywhere. Mayor's girl, even if the judge doesn't consider it, he's got to pretend he does. I promise he does. He's got to make it look like he is. He is looking at this thing and he'll ask a few questions. If you've never been to one of these kind of hearings, usually you don't have any idea what's going on. You understand the procedure. You don't know which way the judge is leaning. Like I remember sitting in there and going, oh, this is going well. This is fantastic. Excellent. And then everything kind of changes and he gets to now this is the reason why we don't think we should do it. And by the end, he got a laptop 2 days ago. I am going to have to see that in writing. I think it would be really, it's not unheard of. I've seen it done. I've seen it done. They're dedicated machines that don't have the ability to get online. It's for all intents and purposes more like almost like a typewriter, right? More of like the old electronic typewriters. Yeah, kind of like a tablet, ASAP Lizzie, but no option for getting online. However, I still would need to see that. He's a great distraction. I hear a lot of people say that this was just put up there for a distraction. I've heard that. The truth of the matter is this is bigger than all those. Like, I'm not trying to be a jackass, but it is. This is our entire society on trial, right? This is the heroes. This is what every kid wants to be when they grow up, right? You sit and you dream of being these lowlives. And what you find out is it doesn't matter where you are in the world. This is the same thing every single freaking time. In 2018, there was a scandal like this, very similar, in South Korea. Some K-pop guys, famous K-pop guys, opened up a nightclub that was a cover for using chemicals to knock women out and essay them. You could go to this private website and pick out women in advance that they intended to chemically knock out for your benefit for these high-dollar VIP rollers. And you're looking at this thing going, what the hell? I've said it before, and I'll say it again. These industries breed this kind of crap because it is a new form of royalty, right? For real. All of this crap hasn't been around very long. Think about it. The Hollywood phenomenon, people on film, people on being recorded for music, for any of that. How long have we been doing that? Seriously. This is all fairly new technology if you think about how long we've been on this planet. And you know what? It's not working very well. The Burning Sun, Anne Brown is familiar with what I'm talking about. I think it is the Burning Sun, right? If not, it sounds exactly like that. It sounds exactly like that. But this is bigger than that. All of the people that keep talking about how, yeah, it's a distraction. What's bigger? Honestly, I mean, I understand the election's a big deal, right? But it is. However, it doesn't seem like it cut down much on the voting, right? The numbers were still really high. This is, if it's a distraction, yeah, you know what, Jonathan? It's hard, isn't it? I hear this more than I hear anything, man. More than anything. Yeah, that K-pop guy is trying to open a new club, and why not? He did it about a year, right? If you can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he did a year, right? For systematically running a business that the devil has always used music. I am not going to debate that, but I think he's always used anything when there is a position of authority, when the person sitting across from you can go like this. You're not gonna be a star. You're not gonna have your dreams come true. And Diddy had the ability to do it, not just in his office, but everybody else's. That is what alleged, right? That he would trash you in the entire industry. So a person sitting across from you can make your dreams come true, right? That's the ultimate carrot. I can make you rich. You'll be able to take care of your family. You'll be able to drive whatever you want, live wherever you want. Everybody in the world will want to be you, right? People want to date you. When you step out of cars, people are going to scream. I promise you, maybe that's not the greatest thing in the world anyway. But tell that to a 15-year-old, because that's what these people dream of being. In fact, when you ask seniors graduating, what do you want to be when you grow up? They say an influencer. That's the number one answer now. It's the number one answer now. Can you believe that crap? If he's granted bail, how long after it's granted will he be released? If it was standard bail, it would happen today. But this kind of bail would require, there's a lot of setup that would have to be required, because what they put out as a bail package requires a crap load of building. Honestly, like they basically are building a prison for all intents and purposes. Lynn, you are now a member of the Lifeboat group page. I'm sorry you were stuffed up there for a minute, but you're in. Yeah, you know, Sharon, there's a lot of weird news because a lot of this stuff has to be fit for human consumption. What I mean by that is this is paying the bills. And it's paying the bills for Law and Crime Network. It's paying the bills for me. It's paying the bills for anybody that's talking about it. And that in and of itself starts to taint what you're looking at. It really does. Some of the stuff that people are saying is really fantastic. If you kind of throw the truth out the window, some of the videos I watched about how they went in and tore up his cell, this entire 5 agency operation was set up just to go in and get Diddy stuff. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. If all you wanted to do was go in there and take pictures of his stuff, you'd take everybody and just say, we're shaking down your unit. That happens. There's not a day that goes by in prison where they're not shaking down cells. Every day. In the units I lived in the pen, theoretically, they were supposed to do 5 a day. The cops were supposed to randomly pick 5 cells a day and tear them up and go in there and search them and do all of that. That's just kind of how it works. Just Joan, good to see you. It's all right. Yes, there were female singer idols unaliving themselves because of the Burning Sun scandal. Crazy stuff. Do I think this will change defense cases in the future if Diddy gets leniency with all of the evidence against him? I don't think we need to worry about that. I really don't. The only chance that this guy's got of getting leniency, in my opinion, is if he wants to bury the people above him that helped him get this up and running. He's going to have to bring them other people to turn in, right? Like the people keep bringing up that Tekashi 6ix9ine character because he did very little time. He also turned in everybody he knew, right? He went full on rat. He didn't fart around. No allegedly on that. By the way, I'm not mad at him. Got nothing to do with me. For real, you know what I'm saying? Kid wants to do that. He's kind of bold about going out and bragging about it. I don't know that I would. I don't know that I'd go that route. But I think that this Diddy case will change a lot. When it's all said and done, it's going to be like the OJ case, where there's going to be a hangover from this. We're going to realize that a lot was done wrong, because when you get somebody that's got this much money The feds are used to seeing people like me. I mean, you might have money to buy an attorney, but you're going to spend 25 grand and think you've spent all the money in the world on the best defense that money can buy. This guy's going to spend, right, a telephone number on this appeal, right? The money that's getting blown on this is insane. And when somebody comes out of the woodwork with that much cash, then what you're going to find out is you're going to find out how the system runs. Because for the first time, it's not an attorney facing the Department of Justice, which has more attorneys than any law firm on planet Earth, right? It's a little different now. Now they've got the prosecutor and they got their little team or whatever, but so does he. He's blown a hell of a lot of money to put together a legal team that they claim is they claim it's a very solid team. I mean, the only case that I know of for sure that Agnifilo, I mean, I do a lot of true crime stuff, but the only one I ever remember him doing is the Nexium trial, right? The cult one. I don't remember any other ones, and that guy's doing life. So I don't know how Diddy picked him, but what kind of security measures will be put in place if he's given bail? It's a great question. He's going to have an ankle monitor so that if he were to go anywhere, they're going to know that he went somewhere, right? So he's going to have an ankle monitor strapped up to his leg at all time. He's going to be in a house or an apartment or whatever that's going to be guarded by federal, basically U.S. Marshals type guys that are not on duty. And that's what they use to watch guys who are in a hospital or any place where you're going to be. And they're going to leave U.S. Marshals in there to guard you if you're a federal inmate. They're not going to let state people do it. So there would be a lot of U.S. Marshals guarding the place to make sure he didn't leave. There would be a sign-in sheet at the door, and the only people that allegedly would be able to go in and see him would be his family and attorneys. Because no way would he tell his kids, hey, this is what I want you to go do, right? No harm, no foul. I mean, what could go wrong? I think this is pretty safe. You realize how stupid it sounds, right? I mean, for real. So there are supposed to be, in theory, a sign-in book, whatever. They're also putting up $50 million. He's not going to have access to the internet. He's not going to have access to a telephone. He will not have access to women, right? Because you have to realize they're trying to say we can guarantee that we're going to keep him safe by putting all of these in play. There will be 3 security with him, 1 in reception. They were questions asked and answered. There's no chance on God's green earth. I'm sorry. There's no chance on God's green earth. He's going to have to cover his tail. He being Subramanian. He would have to be drug tested. Absolutely. Absolutely. He would have to. Yes. Diddy's lawyer was giving the names of private security firms. The reason being the last time they did, it was a different group of people and they didn't get a warm and fuzzy. These were people that knew Diddy well. You know, what about men? He likes them too. Shar. Well played. Well played. Yes, he will be able to get visits from his family wherever he is. But if he's getting visits from his family at MDC, it's monitored, right? I mean, you can sit and kind of whisper, but it's monitored. It's not going to be like if he was at his house or in an apartment. This is a tall friggin' order, man. It's a tall order. And then I think this is what everybody loses sight of pretty regularly. The legal system, in theory, is supposed to be equitable, right? So let's say that one of you got arrested on the same day, right? Back there in the middle of September, when they came and got Diddy, they came and got you also. And you're being charged with the trafficking charge. None of the other ones, just that one. Are they going to let you design your own bail package? Are they going to let you get out and go to your own freaking little house where you've got some people set up and, probably some champagne in the living room? Diddy's lawyer said he will obey him, and why not, right? He's been a stand-up cat up to this point. There's no reason to doubt the man. Work with Kate Jordan. Hello, Kate Jordan. People were so publicly split during both OJ and Michael Jackson trial. Not the same with Diddy. Correct. What do you think the difference is? I'm curious. What do you think the difference is? They played a lot on the Abercrombie guy getting bailed out to only $10 million. You know what, Ann Brown? It's an error. It's a bad play. It really is. It's a bad play because what you're going to force them to do is answer to the differences between Diddy and the gentleman from Abercrombie and Fitch. And if you do that, by just pointing out the differences, it's an indication on what a sick POS this guy is, right? What's the difference? Well, we could start with automatic weapons. None of those were taken out of the house of the CEO from Abercrombie and Fitch. Not 7 of them with 50-round magazines, right? Which, by the way, you're not supposed to have. High-capacity magazines. I mean, this is military hardware. This is pretty rugged stuff. And 3 of them have had the serial numbers obliterated off them. And why? Why? Well, because you don't want them knowing that it's stolen, or you don't want them to be able to trace it after you do something illegal with it and drop it at the scene of the crime. Those are the only 2 reasons you obliterate a serial number. Both of those mean you're a criminal. Any doubt? He's also a felon. So he's a felon in possession of a firearm. I went away for a hell of a long time for that, by the way. A long time. I spent a decade behind bars for that. These are not crimes that you get slapped on the wrist for, man. I bet you he's since he walks out, he's going to book a flight. One of these people that are in that list that we know about. You know, I don't know that he has to book a flight. Right? He's got a jet. He's got friends that have a jet. Currently, his jet is not in the U.S. because they've been renting it out. You can believe this. They're going to be watching him really, really closely. If the guy's got tunnels, he's going to have to use them. Hello, Joanne Ventrilla, Shannon Clark. I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. It's going to be a situation where he lost his plane. He can't use his plane. He didn't lose the plane. He's just renting it currently. He's renting it currently. Smuggling out of the he is renting it out for really, really incredible money. You would not believe how much cash this guy gets for renting that plane. And it just shows you the opulence. You know what I mean? You're going to drop $100K so that you don't have to get on an airplane with other people. That's extravagant stuff, isn't it? It's extravagant stuff. Herder of goats. I'm glad that you are at work checking it. That's really cool. Thank you, Joanne. I am feeling better. Thank you for your support. I mean that. I'm feeling better. My throat's starting to level out a bit. They're going to be commenting on this on Monday, is when the judge is supposed to make his ruling. The judge doesn't want, this is my opinion, the judge doesn't want to do this like that. He wants to take this stuff, look it over, right, go through all that, so that on record, it looks like he took 3 days to look at this thing, right? Chase everything down. And I'm glad. We don't want, hey, Toby, we don't want this cat having any kind of recourse for ineffective counsel, right? The one thing that will always get you back into court, no matter what, if it's ineffective use of counseling, if your lawyer screwed up and you can document that, then you can get back into court. It's just plain and simple. That's what it is. He'll be out for Thanksgiving? No, he will not be out for Thanksgiving. He's going to be eating Thanksgiving in there, Marmalade Atkins. I'm afraid your boy won't be out for Thanksgiving, in my opinion. There may be a boat at the end of the tunnel at Star Island. They're not going to let him go to Star Island. No chance. If he does it, he will have to do it on this island, right, in Manhattan, right? There's not going to be able to do it on any other island. So which celebrities do I think Diddy will snitch on and testify against? I'll tell you what. Thank you very much, by the way, Yeti. My thing on this one is, I think currently the people that really need to be concerned, Ashton Kutcher seems to me to be a guy that was around way too much smoke. You follow me? Way too much smoke. And I keep going back. I know you're probably sick of hearing this, but when they came out with this, we're the new Rat Pack, right? And that new Rat Pack had in it Danny Masterson, right? Ashton Kutcher, P. Diddy, Jamie Foxx, and Will Valderrama. And I'll tell you something, man. You talk about a group of people that are not known, right, for great stuff. You don't want any of these people dating your daughter. Feel me? No, the good news is they do give a hell of a meal on Thanksgiving inside. I'm not kidding either, man. Not kidding at all. Boy, the silence is absolutely incredible, isn't it? Nothing's louder. Ashton Kutcher, Beyonce, Jay-Z. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think Adrena English was lying on the Lionel B show. I don't either. I know a lot of people really struggle with Adrena English, and I do not. Here's what we got to understand. We saw a lot of Jaguar Wright, and we saw a lot of a lot of people, in all honesty. There's a lot of people that have come forward and been very, very honest and very open about their experiences. And they tell things that are horrific. They tell things that are as scary as anything that you can possibly. Oh, come on now. Listen to me. They say racism on everything, people. They say racism on everything. Do you think that the difference between, you think they let that cat from Abercrombie and Fitch go because of racism? How about the allegation that he pistol whipped a man, right? Allegedly, in Macy's, forced the guy to his knees to perform oral sex in front of him with 3 bodyguards standing there and laughing, or assaulting a 13-year-old or a 10-year-old. The stuff that's coming out on this guy is way different than the stuff that was on the other dude. Way different. I mean, granted, they were both running a form of prostitution ring. They were both using positions of authority to make people believe they had a shot at being famous or whatever, so that they could leverage that to SA and R people. There are a lot of similarities, but there are way more differences than there are similarities. For real. We have a guy that we know for a fact has already been involved in one shooting. There's no way to deny that one, right? We know about that one. That's the Shine Barrow stuff. But allegedly, there was another one at a recording studio, and you guys know that story because it's been told ad nauseum. Yeah. Well, Todd seems to believe that Diddy is going to get out, and they're going to then secret him out of the country. I think that this is going to sell over the course of the weekend, right? I think I could probably get a lot more people to watch it if I put Diddy walks, right? That would certainly get a lot more views. However, that's exactly what he's doing. The judge is covering all of his bases because they do this. It's on record. Everybody. Oh God, yes. Do I think Mila Kunis was in the no? Have you ever looked at any of the stuff that happened with that 70s show? I mean, in no uncertain terms, right? That chick knew that there was like this air of like a perverted boys club that was going on there, except for what's his name? Topher Grace seemed to have nothing to do with it. Seemed like a good dude. Whoopies thinks he'll get out too. All right. We got people coming down on both sides of this. Yeah, watch the Cassie video, right? I mean, this is the thing. I find it incredibly funny, right? I find it incredibly funny that they do the, hey, she wasn't escaping a freak off. There was no adult entertainer in there. That was just she and Diddy. And does that make him less dangerous? Does that mean he didn't kick her in the head? Drag her by her hair? Throw a vase at her? That didn't happen, right? Without losing his towel. This man's a professional. Certainly not the first time he has beat on a woman in a towel. I don't think that there's a chance. But Mila Kunis on the set of that 70s show knew that these guys were out womanizing, out doing this kind of stuff. And I've heard other actresses talk about her. And she said, you find yourself often on a set like that where if you complain and say, hey, these guys are saying things that are really inappropriate, then you kind of become the bitch on set, right? And some people go the other way, where she's just like one of the boys. And that is allegedly the way she went down on that show, right? That she was one of the fellas, right? And ended up marrying Ashton, obviously. But real odd group of friends, man. Real odd group of friends. The Danny Masterson thing, if you're not hip to that whole case, I'd be shocked if you're not. But if you're not, you can go back. I did a lot of it. I was in the courthouse for the sentencing of that case. Not everyone who has experienced CPTSD is going to be able to satisfy our need to know in the way we all need to hear it. Compassion is always warranted. These are survivors. That's right. That's absolutely right. And there are people who are going to come across as destroyed. It's going to be very obvious that as these people go to relive this stuff, it's going to be the most painful thing you've ever seen in your life, right? In your life. However, it may not be the same for, it's not going to be the same for the next person. The next person, as opposed to breaking down, may laugh their ass off because that's how they deal with it. It's a completely different process. It doesn't make it any more real or any less real. And I think when we get to a point where we start going, this guy's trauma or that girl's trauma isn't quite as severe as this person's. I'm not playing that game, man. And I don't think anybody here wants to play that game. Honestly, does anybody want to get down that road? I don't think you want to do that. At the hearing, the defense said Cassie's beating was consensual. I read what they said, and what they said was that this was a snapshot of a relationship that had a lot of violence in it, and that was part of it. You know, they hit each other. They did kind of try to put this off as consensual. Nobody goes out into the. No one tries to run from something consensual. I don't think anyone's seriously believing that. I mean, the lawyer's got to do this, right? It's his friggin' job. He's got to go in there and say these things. He doesn't believe it either. Tinfoil hat time. Oh, I love that. Hey, K-Dubs, thanks again. I really appreciate you. Where is my tinfoil hat? Pretty sure I had it in here. Do you think bail will be granted to make it easier for Diddy to be Epsteined? I think that if you were to grant this man bail, the entire world is going to want to know why. They're going to want to know who gave you how much cash. I'm not trying to be a jackwagon, but honestly, how do you justify letting this guy out on the street? But Tommy, he's innocent until proven guilty. Yeah, no, he is. He's innocent until proven guilty. He's not innocent of kicking her in the face. I don't have to say allegedly. I don't. You know, or you hear people say what the video reportedly shows. No, what the video shows, we watched it. Kicking her in the head, right? I mean, trying to kick a woman in the head. Got a microphone? Drop it. If that alone isn't enough to keep that man in. We all know who that woman that he was kicking in the face in the hallway was, right? That's victim number one. This is the person who the entire case hinges on. We also know, and we're not necessarily seeing everything, right, or hearing everything, but just what was written down in the response from the prosecution. There is a lot. The case, I mean, the bail should hinge on the fact that he can't follow the friggin' rules when he's in jail. Why would he follow them when he's in an apartment? He has been doing everything in his power. He's been doing everything in his power to threaten, to coerce, right? Allegedly. I don't want his psychos coming to my house to offer me money. I might take it. You know what I mean? Convict. Do I think he's safer in jail or on the street? Well, here's the deal. The way that they're setting it up, I mean, if they let him get on the street the way that they want him on the street, he's probably safer there, right? Because he'd have his own chef, I'm sure, right? Which is fun. You know, no one else is getting into that. Steve, I really appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. ASAP Lizzie makes a good point, right? She makes a good point. He was beating on her while she was on the ground defenseless. It's cut and dry. Okay? This is simple stuff. The other simple stuff is when you get to prison, in this case, jail, when you get to jail, they tell you how the phone system works. They say if you get caught using someone else's phone, you have broken the rules. And they'll tell you why. The reason is because that's how you try to circumvent people listening to your calls. Only that's not the truth. Your calls are still going to be listened to. In fact, it's just a really easy way to get busted because they're not trying to figure out. All they do is run the phone number through the system. And every single person that used that phone number will come up on the screen. There should never be two people using the same phone number. I mean, unless brothers got busted, right? But that's never a good thing. It's almost always It's almost always a hustle. And he did this. He tried to get around their security, right? He was slick. He would call somebody on the street. That person on the street would then make a three-way call to whoever he wanted to call. The nice thing about that is now I can contact people that are not on my approved list. Hey, Shelly, he is a special kind of vermin, to be sure. Thanks, Todd. I appreciate the heck out of this. Todd says he's been here since the Danny Masterson days. He will get out. He'll dig himself deeper in a hole. Whoopee, you know what? This is why, my friend, I don't think there's a chance in hell that he's getting out. What we're not all hearing is how much he has already dug himself a deeper hole. Do you remember when that raid was? It was in October. You hear me? It was in October. So in October, they photographed everything. He didn't know the stuff was taken. They didn't take it. They weren't seizing the stuff. They just took pictures of all it. And then they nicely put it back. They knew he was using other people's phones. And they let him. Why? Because they'd like to hear what he had to say. If this guy thinks that what he's doing is getting away with, then can you imagine the stuff he said? Can you? Allegedly, he was ordering his kids to go this place, that place. Judges get salty when they think you're trying to jack up their trial, like you're powerful enough or you're important enough that you're going to go out there and screw this trial up from the outside. Oh, they get salty. I promise you, they get salty, really salty. They'll lose their sense of humor, something fierce. Will he get room service? I would imagine he would. I would imagine that if he does this, he's going to bring with him his chef. Probably a new one, because his chef, oddly enough, was one of those people that he abused, not essayed, that was never alleged. She did say that he liked to walk around naked in front of her all the time. He would call her upstairs while he was getting out of the shower and he'd say, what do you think? Huh? I'm looking good today, having a good day for the old, yeah. But he never touched her or anything else. But he did say to a friend once, right? Gene Deal talked about this. Watch me make her cry. Good dude, right? Watch me make her cry, and then did it. Cassie told her story and was called a liar. Hired a lawyer, called liar. Video proof, yeah. Now the video is altered. Well, these people are going to do this all the time. And I love how they say, this is one of the funniest things anyone's ever said. Let's keep that real. This is absolutely hysterical. They made this video look worse by how they edited it. How the hell could that look any worse? How the hell could that? Did we miss the part where, he apologized, got down on his knees and begged for forgiveness? Because that wouldn't help anyway. It wouldn't. He said he was in jail 2 days when he first broke the rules. Well, he's a trustworthy cat. He's a trustworthy cat. If we believe what is alleged to be believed, this guy has been walking around for about 2.5 decades going, I'm going to sleep with that person right there. And if they don't want to, I'm going to chemical them up and then I'm going to sleep with them. Man, woman, child. This guy's a lowlife, man. He's one of the absolute nastiest lowlifes you're ever going to come across on planet Earth. And this is, I think you're going to be really surprised, man. I think you're going to be really surprised at what happens in bail time. I don't think you're seeing anybody, and I mean anybody, that's going to, yeah. Well, here's the deal. There's a local rule 23. I think it's called local rule 23. You can't do this. You can't smut up the victim as a way to discredit her. Comes from like the good old days of guys going, well, she was wearing a miniskirt. You know what I mean? If she didn't want that to happen, she shouldn't have worn a miniskirt. I'm not woofing you. This was a legitimate thing a while back, right? This was one of those things that people said, what were you wearing? Okay. Those days are over, man. So for Agnifilo to do what he's doing, I think he's going to get, slapped by the judge for violation of local rule 23. Because I don't think he's going to put up with them beating on the victim more. She doesn't deserve that. But I'll tell you something. He has really dug himself a hole. Really dug himself a hole. The chef was kicked out like Jazz in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Like Jazzy Jeff? Oh, no, that's funny, man. Yeah, walks around the house half naked just to make her uncomfortable, right? Because he's a solid cat. All right. Shanta says, let's hear it. Let's hear it. He'll get bail. $10 million bond guy did. Totally different, Shanta. Hang out for a second. Plus, it'll stop the headaches of I'm not able to aid in my case with the discovery of jail. There's a very big difference between those two cases, right? One had absolutely no run-ins with the law ever. Diddy ain't that cat, right? He has had so many run-ins with the law. It's been crazy. He had 7 automatic weapons in his closet with high-capacity magazines, 3 of which had obliterated serial numbers. He had 1,000 bottles, allegedly, of GHB in his bathroom. 1,000 bottles of G. Right? He also had Tusi. There was a bunch of different chemical substances laying all over the house. And the list of victims in this is getting to the point where they're talking about that call line getting 13,000 calls. Think about that for a second. Now, we know not all of those are legit. It can't be. So what, half of them? How about a third of them? Thank you so much, Alana. I really appreciate that. Our friends from the other side of the pond. You don't understand why Quincy is still supporting him. Boy, neither do I, man. Neither do I. He just does not get along with Al B. Short. And if you ever seen Al B. Short interviewed? I mean, granted, you don't know what Dad's like because you're not there or whatever, but man, of the two people, one of them really seems like a stand-up cat, and one is P. Diddy. He wasn't expected to be busted. No, well, here's the thing. See, this is where I get back to my theories. Shelley says he's gotten away with his uncontrolled compulsions. There is no cure or rehabilitation for this jackass. Well said. Well said. The pew-pews alone should keep him behind bars, says Gordon Jackson, and he's right. He wasn't expecting to be busted. A big question mark on that, right? That much evidence lying around, question mark? Well, I mean, there are people who say, he obviously knew this was coming. There's no chance he would have left that stuff out. This has to be a setup. Well, here's my thought on that. I believe, like a half a dozen other people have said who knew the guy well, he worked with the feds. He was this confidential informant. He was a snitch with the feds. Allegedly, right? That's what's alleged. So he didn't think they were going to kick that door in. He didn't. Just like that case I was talking about earlier in South Korea, where they call the cops and the cops come up and arrest the person who just got assaulted because the cops were in on it. Well, guess what? I'm not trying to do the spoiler alert, but Diddy had plenty of cops on staff. Does anybody here doubt that? For real, does anybody here doubt that? Tell you what, if you doubt that he was paying off cops, put a deuce in the chat. If you think he was paying off cops, give me a 0. Why haven't the inmates already jumped him in jail for his crimes? Do they have to wait until he's convicted or what? Motherbird, it's a great question. It's a great question. And you want to hear the answer? He's in with people just like him. He's not in the segregated housing unit, right? That's been BS from the beginning. He's on West Wing, downstairs and to the left, apparently. Yeah, see, everybody's in agreement here. So downstairs and to the left. So what's going on in that unit, right? Well, that unit has people who are in there for doing things to kids, people who are in there for lying, people who are in there for all kinds of things, people who are in there for testifying against people, rats, right? Chomos, R-wordists, essayers. He's in there with freaks. And if you're surrounded by freaks, then he's the king of them, right? No reason to hate Diddy. He's in there on the same crime you are. These guys are making his bed. He's paying for it, but these guys are making his bed. It's not a shocker. It really isn't. Sadly, it's not a shocker. I do believe, and I think we're going to find out, man. 0, 0, 0. I like it. I think we're going to find out that this is Diddy stuff. He paid off so many cops, in my humble opinion, all across the U.S., right? He had them in Florida. He had them in New York. He had them in L.A. He was doing it and doing it and doing it right, wasn't he? Why is R. Kelly faring so well in prison, says Olive Green. I wasn't aware of the fact that he was. Packer Girl gifted 5 lifeboat memberships. People are turning green. Thank you, Packer Girl. Olive Green. He has had the bark beat off of him 3 times that I'm aware of. Dude's been beat up. I don't think he's doing great in there. I could be wrong. But if he's doing great in there, it's a recent development. Isn't his mom really his aunt? I don't know, but I watched a video of them kissing, and I've never kissed my mom or my aunt like that. Feel me? Whatever he's doing, it just ain't right. Know what I mean? Thank you again, Packer Girl. Fronta says, but with all of the stipulations, some in court felt the judge leaning where he goes for his 3rd bedroom apartment nearby. My concern is, how do we know he's not using others' accounts to communicate at 3 a.m.? If you mean locked up inside, he can't use other accounts. He could use other accounts at night. He could use them around the clock. Every single one of them is recorded. But you mean at his own house? If he is let out in his house, he's going to break the rules. He's going to break the rules. He's going to contact every single person on that list, and they will smoke him back instantly the way they did for Sam Bankman-Fried. Right? Sam Bankman-Fried got out on a fortune. They put up so much money to get that fool out. And what did he do? Well, he started playing. He started doing that narcissistic control thing. I can fix this. I can fix this, right? All I got to do is talk to a couple of people, man. Get me a phone. You get me a phone. This guy's an egomaniac, right? And he's absolutely, for his entire life, been doing this thing. Todd, I talked about this yesterday. You're absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. This is, again, in the state, if you do something so rank that they're really twisted up about it, what they're going to do is put a ludicrous size bail on it, right? The worse you are, the bigger the bail, right? That's not the way it works in the feds. You're not necessarily entitled to have bail. Different system, right? And his crime for the trafficking, that says that is you are not supposed to give someone bail who has a trafficking charge. You're not supposed to. So they have to prove why, in this case, it is a necessity. And that's what they're saying. Can't prepare for the case. Well, then maybe you shouldn't have essayed that many people, right? Maybe you shouldn't have recorded that many people that you were doing bad stuff to, that it's going to take you a half a year to go through all your victims. Whose fault's that? Huh? You serial predator? Whose fault's that? Sorry. Sorry if I don't bum out for you. So what I was saying the other day, so he says, why wouldn't the obliterated numbers? Isn't that enough to keep him in? The trafficking is enough to keep him in. The pew-pews on top of that. And then the dope. The dope. Yeah, any idea how much G that is? I mean, this guy, and it speaks to the volume of this operation, right? Even if he's selling it, right? Allegedly. Even if he's selling it, it's 1,000 bottles, man. That's a ton of dope. That's a lot of drugs, man. How many people are you doing this to? Thank you, Christy Hughes. The greatest mods on planet Earth, there is no doubt. Can he pay folks to pass a message by text or email? He can. He can. But he's going to he'd have to catch somebody that's going out, right, to the street, because he's not going to be able to, if he pays someone to do that inside, they're going to see it. It's going to be the similar email. They're going to look at every single thing that goes out. They're really good about that, man. They are really good about that. They're frightening with how good they are. Yes, they do that. They absolutely do that. Will the authorities have to make sure the pew-pews have not been involved in any crimes? They will run them through the 2 different databases that they have for firearms to see if it comes back with any kind of hits. Absolutely, they will. Absolutely, they will. Swiss Vapor's got a good one. Question: everyone knows Flanders from The Simpsons. Why does he say diddly and so much? It's I'm not trying to get Ned in any kind of trouble here, but allegedly Ned has been to at least 2 white parties. I'm not saying he got into the back, right? I'm not saying that this dude spent any time at a freak off, but Ned Flanders has definitely been there. And you know what? He wouldn't be the only Bible thumper in there, huh? Allegedly. Allegedly, TD Jakes is a bottom. You guys familiar with this concept? A bottom. Yee. I mean, look, if it should get down, it should get down. But don't be married. Don't have kids. Don't be a family, and don't put yourself out there as if you're some kind of holier than thou kind of cat, right? Because you're not. You're a sleazebag. If he's bailed with private security, who pays for the security? Oh, he does. He absolutely does. He's going to have to put up all of the money for that, I promise. He would be tested for drugs regularly. If you are on pre-trial detention, part of that is mandatory drug tests. We do need a Diddy song with a Ned remix, Mr. Rowe. You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. 1,000. Yes, TD Jake's wife did file for divorce, allegedly. She has said she wants out. There are, allegedly, a lot of pictures coming out of that dude. And there's also someone, right? There's a victim out there, a survivor out there that said this dude tried to do the and he didn't allow it. But yeah. You know what? Not all bad, but a lot are, Mr. Beast. Allegedly. Look, Mr. Beast got torn to shreds the other day. I don't even like saying this name out loud, but I'm going to do it. CoffeeZilla. You ever watch CoffeeZilla? That dude's incredible, man. But I would not want that dude angry at me. I wouldn't want that dude going after me. He's just one of those dudes that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. He was not denied bail today. He was not. Truthfully, he was not. We'll see on Monday morning. Gordon Jackson says, so the pew that J-Lo flung out of the car wasn't her and Diddler's. Oh, here's the deal on that. It probably would be, but you're looking at December in New York. There might have been prints, might have been gloves. He might have been in that car, wiping that puppy down. Who knows? But what we do know is it wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered because allegedly his defense team put together the prosecution's case and dropped it off in order. Here's the people you're going to call. Here are the questions you're going to ask. Here's what they're going to tell you. They're going to tell you that this happened. This will back up this guy's story. This will back up what the actual, well, you know. Will we have a Fed meat gazer during the urine test for substances? Well, let me tell you. If he were in the Bureau of Prisons, when they take you in for that procedure, which is just fun, the yard that I was on, and same way when I was on the street on the way out, you got to drop your pants to your ankles first of all, like you're a 6-year-old, like you're a 6-year-old going to the bathroom. You push your pants all the way down to your ankles, and then you stand at a toilet that has a mirror in a 90-degree. The corner is mirrored. So that, he's got to stare at his Johnson from about 4 different angles. One cop used to test me, like over the course of about 15 months in one facility. It was the same cop every time. And I said to the dude, I'm like, do you keep signing up for this? Or do they hate you? Huh? He's like, it's not such a bad gig. It's not really hard work. I'm like, you stare at guys' junk all day long. I mean, is this what you thought you were going to be getting into when you thought you were going to be guarding people? Oh, it's a tough way to make a living. I'm not judging anybody, whatever your get down is, but at that point, I don't think my wife was seeing me as much as this cat was. It's every month. Char! They get most back if they show up. There is some percentage a bondsman takes, 10%, not sure with Diddy. So there's 2 options with this, right? There's 2 options. You can have a bail bondsman who is going to put up the money for you. You're going to put up 15% down with collateral, your house, whatever. You lose that entire 15%. Whatever you put down, they're going to keep. Because when you show back up to court, let's say the bail's $50 million, right? And you put up, the amount for the bail bondsman. I was told there'd be no math. What is that? $7,500 or something like that. I mean, the big money, 7 million, whatever. You put down the 15%, and then the bail bondsman shows up with all of that money. the bail bondsman's going to get all of that money back. He's going to keep the 15% and he's going to return the rest, to his bank account. It is a risk because if this guy disappears, well, then that bail bondsman's going to have to pay for him disappearing. Yeah. But I don't think we're going to get to that, people. I don't think we're going to get to this. 15% was what I always dealt with. There are places, different states are different. I know that for a fact. Where I was always 15%, but I've heard guys talk about 10. I'm not a betting person, but would be willing to bet there is no way Diddy will ever get bail. New York federal prosecutor doesn't play around and has a great track record. Not that I trust him. I don't trust anybody. But what I will tell you is this. There is so much evidence, right? There is so much evidence against this man. There is so much evidence that screams, don't let him out, right? I mean, it's obvious to me. Used to be ASAP. It might still be 10% where you're at. Like I said, it's different from time to time in different places, man. You heard Denzel. You heard that the person suing is Denzel Washington? Well, I'll be damned. That is not something I've heard. I have heard a bunch of rumors of who that person is. I did not hear it was Denzel. What I heard, allegedly, the person that's suing him is doing so as a favor to the diddler. It's part of that whole PR campaign that he was orchestrating from behind bars to make everything look like BS, right? And when you get people suing and saying, hey, what's up? Nah, I heard it was Kevin Hart too, Mr. Wrong. That's who I heard. I heard it was Kevin Hart. Tommy, do you think that Natanya Rubin will get the justice that she deserves? I do. And do you know why? I think this is a great lesson for everybody in life. I hope my kids are watching. When you tell the truth, you're not lucky. It's just the greatest thing in the world. You got nothing to worry about. Natanya has been telling the same story, right, since the end of the 1990s. It's never changed that much. That's incredible, right? It's a really solid thing, and it's going to, I think, it's going to lean in really kind of in her favor for getting some justice. I think that she's probably going to have those things removed from her face, and I think that this is going to be a problem for. It's one more thing that can be prior bad acts, right? This is what this, like blowing up that. What was it? A Corniche? What was Kid Cudi driving? Anybody remember? Allegedly, somebody cut it, but allegedly it was because Diddy asked them to, but they cut the soft top. And then they tossed a Molotov cocktail in there to light on fire a Rolls Royce. This is wrong. Who's Mr. Beast? The number one YouTuber on planet Earth. Right? Or was at one time the number one YouTuber. He's not anymore. But I don't think he is anymore. But he was. I mean, he's got the number of, somebody can tell me what it is, but it's like hundreds of millions of, it's just ridiculous. But he is a different story. LA Beast. LA Beast is solid. That's a different beast. LA Beast is great. If you've never seen him, you should. His stuff is fun to watch. Jonathan, I love that. I really do. I love that. Meanwhile, here in Canada, California, Freedom Convoy person implicated has been in prison for 5 months for mischief, but Diddy might get bail. We are a mess here in Canada. You know what, Aaron? We're a mess everywhere. Currently, we're a mess everywhere. I'm sad to say that, but it's the truth. Yeah, see this? Tell me if anybody else agrees with this. I'm putting a 0 up right now for Sassy Savage. Because this to me, people, like I always say, when I step out of YouTube, I step out of YouTube. This follows me out. If I look at a television, if I look at anything, and I see an actor that I really dig, my first thought now is, I wonder. Right? I wonder if this is one of those lowlifes. Do you find yourself hating all of these industries? If you do, put a 0. But to me, it's disgusting. I find myself wanting to boycott all of it. I'm not kidding. I don't want to watch films anymore. I'm not going to do it. I mean, there are old ones that, I've been watching for years. I'm not watching anything that ever comes out ever again. Technically, I couldn't anyway because of my brain thing. But I'm boycotting all this crap. I'm never going to buy music again. I'm not going to put any money into any industry that victimizes the talent as part of the procedure, right? In order to be trusted, you have got to go through a ritual, right? You have got to go through a humiliation ritual. And this is a big deal. Mother Bird says, I'm not watching anymore either. You know what? I'm glad. Pamela says, I agreed. Mel Gibson, Jim Carrey, and countless others have exposed them. Yeah, I liked Ricky Gervais's monologue at the Oscars. That was one of the greatest things of all time. Yeah, questioning if victims are perps. It's never liked him as a rapper, but as a producer, I liked his talent, but he screwed them all. Boy, he did, didn't he? Boy, he did, didn't he? And what's worse is I find myself doing this number and questioning, was he really good? And then he did all of this effed up stuff? Or is the reason he was so successful because he was doing all this effed up stuff? Was this just one of those situations, right? Where he looked to be so damn good at this because he was blackmailing all of the people. He certainly wasn't paying talent. Just wasn't paying them. Didn't have to, right? If you start getting lippy and complaining, he'll maybe release that video of you. You know, the one where you were taking a boiled egg to your all kinds of bad. Hell yeah, boycott the whole industry, says Jonka London. And I'm with her. I don't know about you guys, but I am with her. Yeah. Barbie's World says, I watched a female victim and she said J-Lo put a remote control inside her. I've heard that exact same one. I watched that. I think that we need to be careful. I think that we really need to be careful that this does not become a satanic panic kind of a situation. I'm not suggesting that anybody that has come forward is not being 100% genuine. What I'm telling you is that the environment that we're in right now is going to bring people out that are not. It's going to bring people out that are not. It is, this is one of those situations where they're watching people that they've never heard of, who 4 days later are famous, right? That their name is just sort of tied to this case and is always going to be tied to this case. And I think this kind of an environment where anybody that was ever alone with this cat, basically, if you can document that you were alone with him, this is an environment that really has the opportunity to turn into a dumpster fire. And I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I'm worried about it. Yep, even in small capacity, I work professionally as a singer, and this stuff is rampant, really rampant. I can remember stuff being said to me at grade school age, and it's sick. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, they have no problem whatsoever. They have got no problem whatsoever being out in the open about all this crap, right? There's no Jada Pinkett, right, and her husband, good people, right? You'd want them maybe babysitting or being a chaperone at a high school dance. You know what I mean? Just a beacons of society. Anyway, there was a photo shoot of their daughter who was not wearing a lot of clothing. It's not porn by any stretch, but it's inappropriate. Like, you wouldn't want your daughter, who is underage, lying with her head on the thigh of a guy who's not her age. And the whole photo shoot was just kind of creepy. And when they called her on it, her response was, "No, this is on you, right? Don't bring your perverted crap to me. There was nothing at all wrong with that. It was a beautiful photo shoot. Avina Sativa, good to see you. But I'm telling you right now, it was, yeah, it doesn't smell right, people. None of it smells right. Crucial Flow Research says, I don't trust people who need to humiliate me, right? Right? But here's the problem, Crucial. The problem becomes this. Well, they kind of change it up, don't they? Because it's not just, hey, we're going to humiliate you. It's this. It starts out in small increments, right? First, they say, you can be a star. You can be a star. We need to get you into the studio as fast as possible so that we can get you recorded. By the way, here's 350 grand, right? It's an advance on the your first. These people haven't had money in many cases. This is the first cash these people have ever gotten. What do? They buy a Rolls Royce, right? They buy some Rolex watches. They blow that money. They give some to mom. They give some to brothers, and that's all great. Nothing wrong with that, especially if you think it's just going to keep coming in. And then what happens is the album doesn't do well, and they come back and say, because it doesn't matter how much he does, they're going to tell you it doesn't do well, because he's going to say, well, production, distribution cost, blah 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 blah, right? They're always going to come back to we didn't make squat. But don't trip. Don't trip. We're going to make a ton of money on the tour, right? It's going to cost about $1 million, $1.5 million to get this thing going. So give me about $250,000 back of the money I gave you. I don't have any of the money you gave me. You don't. What happened to it? I spent it, man. I hooked people up. I gave some people, don't worry about it. I'll lend you the money so that you can get this tour off the ground. The next thing you know, it's like you're saying, Peter, don't you call me because I can't go. Oh, my soul, to the company store. And the company store is owned by the diddler. Why, thank you, Miss Kavanaugh. You look fantastic in green. Hey, Robert, how are you? Yeah, well, this would be a really good one, wouldn't it? Herder Ghost. Don't you think this would be a good one? I reckon kids have to be 18 plus to start in the music and movie business. Kids getting signed at 13 is wrong. You damn right it is. You damn right it is. And the problem is, if you're going to sign someone, if someone's a prodigy and you sign the person at 13 and everywhere they go for performances or whatever, there's adults there that actually want to take care of them and they're never alone with creeps and freaks. It's possible. It's possible. I don't agree with it. I think it's something really wrong. But how about Scooter Braun grabbing Justin Bieber, bringing him down to Atlanta, hooking him up with Usher. Usher hooks him up with Diddy. We don't know what happened. To be honest, none of us know what happened. But if you had to put some money on it, would you put money on the fact that he was treated well? Because I'm not taking any of that action. Do you think all of this has been going on since House Party days? Kid and Player. I do. I'll tell you something else. I think this has been going on since Gone with the Wind. I think this has been going on since they started to film. I think that even in silent films, right? One of the first big Hollywood scandals that got covered really well was Fatty Arbuckle, right? And that was freak off stuff. They accidentally killed a woman after inserting something in there that ended up causing death. It was a champagne bottle. But this was a unbelievably entitled actor, right? That does this same kind of crap that's been going on and will keep going on until we can stop it. Shirley Temple for sure. Shirley Temple for sure. And the worst has got to be, what's her name? Liza Minnelli's mom. Dorothy. Somebody help me. You know who I'm talking about. You do know who I'm talking about, so that's at least the good news. You do know who I'm talking about. Peony and Rose, thank you so much for the support, Peony and Rose. I really do appreciate it. Peony and Rose, I love the name. I love the name. Sorry. I think that Ellen Degenerate had something to do with Twitch's unaliving. Ellen Degenerate, this is a little interesting little side note. By the way, shout out, I never want to say people's names if they don't have permission, but this was brought to me by somebody, one of the crew members of the boat. Ellen Degenerate bought a house on the other side of the pond, right? And she said that she bought this. Judy Garland, thank you, people. Judy Garland was incredibly sad. That story was horrific. They were banging her with dope before she went out to work. Literally, roll up your sleeve, kid. Roll up your sleeve, kid. It's time to go to work. Dope, right? H. It's horrible. But she said the reason that she's moving, plain and simple, well, this president just got elected. He ain't sticking around for that. Charlie Murphy, good to see you. I'm not sticking around for that. I'm leaving. And that's all well and good. It sounds great. Trouble is, she bought it in October. She bought it in October. In October, pretty much everybody over here thought someone else was going to win, right? I don't buy it, man. I don't buy it. I think that she left the country because, well, she's a despicable person, for one. I mean, that's pretty solid. This, again, I don't plug people's channels that aren't mine very often unless it's Atwood or Surviving the Survivor, unless it's somebody that's a friend of the Lifeboat. But it's really painful, right? This is a really tough thing to watch. It's on the Lionel B channel, and I would recommend that everybody sees it. I'm giving you a warning. It is hard as hell to watch. This is a person that's really going through it, and I find her very believable. You know, whether or not you will. My default setting, though, is to believe. I've watched too many times when it went the other direction, and I don't think, if I'm going to be wrong, I'd like to be wrong believing somebody, right? It would really suck to be wrong in the other direction. I'm Irish. We always look fantastic in green set. Love your charming delivery, and I'll be attending meetings with the crew on the boat. Love that. Love that. Thank you, and love to you and your team. Well, I love that, Ms. Kavanaugh. That's awesome. Truly awesome. The Degeneres threaten to move to the UK. Yeah, get ready, man. They're coming. They are coming. I have no sound. What? I'm pretty sure they can still hear me. Is anybody not hearing me? What do you think? Can I be heard? Can I be heard? Will the UK allow us to bring her back if she's involved? You betcha. You betcha. We actually do really well extraditing people unless they're facing the death penalty, in which case we have a very difficult time getting them. However, she wouldn't be facing the death penalty. So thank you very much. Appreciate you, Shelley. Appreciate you, Charday. Ellen's moved to the Cotswolds, quaint old world village, and she said she's not moving back. She's running. Yeah, and she did that because of, right? She did that because of what? Well, because of the new president. And when did she do this? Well, in October. That just doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Anne Brown, I did not know. I had not heard that Natalie Wood was AR'd by Kirk Douglas. What a bummer. She really had a tough time, does it? I hate that entire story. I really do. That poor woman is broken. You can see it in her eyes. I'm telling you, people. Warning, right? You're being warned. It is a really hard. It's a really hard interview to watch, and it's one that you have to. In my opinion, you have to. She in England? We don't want her. Yeah, well, look, man, we're going to have to spread some of these scumbags out. We've got them all over here. You guys are going to have to pull up a little bit of the slack. You know what I mean? You're going to have to pull up a little bit of the slack, Kensington Gore. It's just, we're spreading them out. Yeah, Sassy Savage. I love Marilyn Monroe. I just love Marilyn Monroe. I always have since I was a very little kid. I just had a thing for Marilyn. She's probably the reason that I've got a thing for blondes to this day, but I loved Marilyn. And as I got old and read about it, she was such a sad story, and she had tons of pills in her system, right? And unfortunately, she didn't have any in her stomach, right? So they were basically boofing it. It's not, but like an enema with Mandrax and other really heavy drugs in it. It's just awful, man. Awful. Yeah, someone said I only watched part one. You're going to want to catch the other one. Could I name the channel again, Sharon? It is the Lionel B program. Lionel B. You can't hide in England. It's too small. It's that simple. Well, they're all going to be trying. They are all going to be trying. They've always talked about the director's couch. Yeah, the casting couch is one of the most disgusting concepts in history. And you know what? Everybody on planet Earth knows the name of it, don't we? I said casting couch, you think there's anybody in this world that doesn't go, oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. If it's that pervasive, I mean, we shouldn't be able to hear that. Is Diddy free? No, Max. Diddy is not free. And I don't know that he ever will be ever again. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. Anyone know or heard about Broadway dancer Zelig Williams? He left New York and was in MJ Hamilton. He disappeared on October 3rd-ish. No, but I will check that. I will look into that. Zelig. You know what? Head to Scotland and the Highlands. May be able to hide. Something's going to have to happen. Marilyn was a wonderful, intelligent person, much more than she was given credit for. She really was. Her death certificate was signed the day before she died. Oh, that's horrible, right? That is just horrible. Why, thank you, Raven's Rage. Yeah, the family passports. I think that's the reason that they, there's a lot of cash. Guys are saying he should get bail on Monday. Yeah, well, they say you should never split tens or face cards playing blackjack, right? You should never double down if the dealer's showing a face card. Who the hell is they? Right? I don't know, but they ain't playing your hand. And I promise you, I don't see it happening, man. I don't see it happening. Can I give you a 10-second rundown on Ellen's sins, please? Nana, nana, boo, boo. Okay, for starters, 10-second rundown. He is the most unbelievably cruel person to work for on planet Earth, right? So there's this great facade of being the nicest person. And then everybody that went and had to work with her on the show said she was like a tyrant, like crazy stuff. Don't look at me. No one's allowed to look at me. Like crazy, just evil, kind of hateful stuff. On top of that, she was very, very good friends with the Diddler. Super good friends with P. Diddy. Had him on her show a lot. And every time he was on the show, they talked about his parties and how she liked going to them and this and that. And she's been photographed at a few of them. So there's a quick rundown. Terrifying. It's always fascinating to watch people's behavior when they've never been told no. What a really amazing thing to say, because it's just so damn true. Naomi Campbell. All I am going to say is I'm disturbed by Naomi Campbell. I am disturbed. Didn't her marriage, you talk about Ellen DeGeneres to Portia de Rossi? I'm not sure if you've heard, but Portia de Rossi and I had a relationship. There's no truth to that, by the way, but it has been said a lot by somebody who thinks it's really funny, but never met her. To be honest, I think a lot of those Hollywood celebrities and music vogues, they're using the election so they complete the country. So they can leave the country, so they can, I'm not sure, I may be missing that, but yeah. I feel like Lionel B did a good job in the interview. I felt it was a good blend of compassion, support, and letting her speak. He's fantastic at letting guests speak. And that is a skill. It's hard to do, especially if you do a show where you talk all the time. It's very difficult to put it into a different gear. You know who else is fantastic at that? For real? Our friend Sean Atwood is amazing at it. And I hope he continues to support her any way he can as well. It's sometimes I feel bad where we march all of these people out because they're great stories, and then we're opening up wounds, right? We're tearing scabs off of wounds, and then we go, hey, thanks for that. And we turn around and walk away. And I find that to be disturbing, in my opinion. Jada was friends with Pac. Do you think she was a plant to get control over Will? You know, I think she probably knew she was a beard. At least I think she did. but she certainly acts like she didn't know. You know what I mean? But they went to school together. I believe it was the Juilliard High School, was it not? He was there for dance. Yeah, Atwood rocks. I agree with you. I love the Sean Atwood program. Love it. Woody the Wood Chipper. So here's the deal on that. What was up with Will? I don't know, man. I think they saw themselves as a potential power couple, right? He was killing it. When the two of them got together, they were both doing pretty well in their careers. Huh? It just was. I don't know, but I do know this. She's not in Scientology. Don't get it messed up. She's never been in Scientology. Liar. In my opinion, just in my opinion. It's funny how she had started a school, right? She started a school in Calabasas, California, and the school was running technology right from the cult of Scientology. He found it to be a much better way, right? Found it to be a much better way of teaching. But she didn't mention to all of the parents that she was going to be doing some L. Ron Hubbard stuff in there. And when the parents found out about it, shocker, they all ran like hell. Nobody really wants their kid being brought up in Scientology, especially without being told about it. Feel me? So it kind of went out of business for that reason, man. Kind of went out of business for that reason. I'll tell you what, she was a Scientologist. If she wasn't, she sure liked kicking it toughly down at the Celebrity Center. Cameron Diaz went to school with Snoop. He sold her weed. I'm not surprised. Yeah. Benny Medina, who produced The Fresh Prince and J-Lo. I think that Will probably dealt with getting passed around. I think that Will probably was a toy for, this is just an opinion, people, but I believe he was a toy. I think he was probably a toy for, and this happens. These sick sons of these people, just like Clive Davis allegedly did this to Diddy. Diddy allegedly did this to everybody, right? Jada Pinkett Smith and her husband allegedly ran several people out of their house screaming, right? For real, needing medical care. Bashir Gray allegedly is one of them. I think Meek Mills is one of them. But there was a lot of smoke, right? There was a lot going on around those people. Would I smoke with Snoop Dogg despite being sober? Yeah, I would. If I was with Snoop, I'd light one up. But it's never been, you know what I mean? That's not my substance. If he said, you want to smoke some tar, I would walk out. You know, I would, not with anybody in the world would I do that, right? Benny Medina is close to Clive Davis. Well, there's a shocker. There's a shocker. Debbie Blair, good to see you. I don't like Will Smith's remake Popeye, amongst other things. He seems to overlook hypocrisy, though. You know, Wharton Thistle, you chatted with an old buddy today. Familiar interaction sure charges up the heart. I love that, man. I really do. I love that. Will Smith is so powerful, I'd be scared to expose him. Have you watched? Oh, make no mistake. Make no mistake. It is a form of slavery. And you know what? You know what I find interesting? I have heard Black artists and Black athletes say that the new slavery is performance. It's sports. It's it's Hollywood, and that this was the new slave. And I remember thinking to myself, what in the name of God are they talking about? Right? These people make a fortune. They live this is slavery, man. Sign me up. It's amazing you don't know, right? It's amazing what you don't know. You look at these people and you think, oh man, they have got such a great life, right? They got everything they want. They got a dad trying to stick his tongue in your son's mouth on national television, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but I've seen 6 of them so far. This is not something that, it was something he did all of the time. The further down the rabbit hole we get, the sicker it becomes. And where does it end? Well, I'm afraid, Nana, that it doesn't. It doesn't. We're going to have to make them pay. You hear me? I've never been a person that thought, you know what, you boycott people. Because to me, it's always going to hurt other people. There are going to be people whose jobs are affected. And it always seems to me to be a bad idea. Not anymore. Not anymore at all. No. At this point, I say burn it to the ground. Right? Start from scratch. Burn it to the ground. And when it starts back up, there needs to be oversight, right? Like, how about a policy where anyone under the age of 18 can never be alone with anybody in the industry? How's that? Can't be. How about every audition has to be filmed, right? There are ways, and we're never going to be able to safeguard all of it, right? We're not going to do that. It's impossible. But we can make a friggin' effort, right? Need a light, says Nana Nana Boo Boo. I'm with you, right? Let's make a hell of a bonfire. That big thing up on the hill. It all needs to go, man. And of course, I'm saying that metaphorically, right? I'm not doing any arson or anything else. But Will Smith and Jada are sick. Sharon, I'm just going to put that up there because I happen to agree with you. So we'll just put that up there and let it sit there for a minute. How did Tyler Perry come out of nowhere and buy Oprah a ghost Bentley? Well, it's an interesting story, isn't it? You know what else is interesting about Tyler Perry? Did you know that he could do that, like that healing stuff that ministers do where they lay hands on you and, you know, the electricity kind of goes through your body and all? I'm not kidding. I watched that happen. I was watching a clip of film of that. And do you know who he was doing it to? TD Jakes. What are the odds, right? Who the hell is this guy? What, he's clergy? No. He makes movies where he wears a dress, right? A lot of them. Spends a lot of time in a dress. But shouldn't be a big shocker, I guess, because that's one of the things that is alleged, is that they are forced to wear dresses. And it is like a slavery thing. It's usually very rich, very old white guys who are trying to humiliate Black men in the industry. That's what it looks like to me. Although obviously white people are susceptible as well, but it looks like it's much more pervasive, right? It's sick. It's definitely sick. Know anything about Bradley Cooper or any country music handlers? Allegedly, young men and students disappear on locations of his concerts. Wow, I had not heard that, but that's worth looking into. Good Lord. That's frightening. Sassy Savage says what everyone else is thinking. I wouldn't want Tyler Perry's hands anywhere near me. Perry did a guest speaker spot with Joel Osteen. Well, I'll be damned. How about that? I did not know. So obviously he's a phony. I mean, Tyler Perry, I just find that guy to be, all of them are so disingenuous. For real. What happened to DJ Jazzy Jeff? That's a great question, Sassy Savage. I don't know. Sorry. Here's the deal. If we're waiting for the police to come in, forget about it. I'm sorry. I believe that they're owned. Sorry. That's where I'm at. I've watched LAPD deal with me. Right? I've watched how they dealt with us when we went out and did the protests at the cult of Scientology, and they were working for Scientology. I promise you. They came out and instantly started harassing us. I mean, instantly. It was definitely set up. Yeah, you know what? Todd, I agree with you. I've said this many times. You know those container boxes that they put on ships? Yeah. You could probably get what? About 80 to 100 of those freaks in one of those, and I would just drop them into the Marianas Trench. Let those things go down to the bottom. Tyler Perry movies are creepy, in my opinion, says Paula Pendley. I've never seen one. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm proud of that. I'm sorry, I am. It seems to me to be lowbrow. I'm sorry. Lowbrow entertainment. There seems to be no end to how dark some people are prepared to go, but as a society, people need to start caring again and taking notice to help when they see this going on, right? Crucial Flow says police are related to Freemasons. Stick around. I'm gonna be doing some stuff on masonry, people. Stick around. I'm gonna be talking about that. Yeah. Hopefully we're gonna piss some people off. We sure did last time. What's the count of people that did the actually assaulted? Well, as I said, I'm going to believe the victims until I have a reason not to, because I think with the smoke that's around this, if I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to make a mistake believing someone, not telling somebody who was essayed that I don't believe them. I don't think that one's I don't think that's a road where we're ready to go down. You with me on this? Crucial Flow. Not only are a lot of them cops, a lot of them are judges, right? A lot of them are judges. If we're waiting on the police, well, it's not like we can wait until somebody dies, because many have already. So right now, we're at about 130 lawsuits that are coming in on the diddler, right? 130. About half and half, women and men, and about 40% of those, I believe, are underage. Really ugly, in my opinion. Really, really ugly. The Mason showed up at your uncle's funeral to take his ring back. He left him before. Wow, that is absolutely bizarre, man. That is absolutely bizarre. Honestly, that's creepy. I think that is creepy as hell. Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea how many people who worked with him have gone into the clergy? For real. Notice how Mace pieced out of the Diddyscape early on and became a preacher or a minister. A lot of them do. A lot of them do. That's something that happens. And I believe, you laugh at me. Please, feel free. I dig it. But I believe it's because they're trying to get their souls back, right? Now you say to yourself, do you mean they literally sell their soul? Well, you call it whatever you want, right? But if they say to you, listen, if you want to be successful in this, you're going to have to get on your knees, or you're going to have to bend over. If a man tells me that and I decide to do that to be successful, I've sold my soul. I promise you, right? That's not who I am. So if I made that decision in order to be a success, then I have traded all of the things that I am for cash, right? I'll let you humiliate me. I'll let you abuse me. I'll let you do whatever, as long as I get that cash and that fame. Yeah, it's disturbing, man. They literally sell their souls, says Marlene Atkins, and I'm not going to disagree. Barbara Wade says, my uncle was a Mason. Now listen, this is important, and I try to say this often, but I probably don't say it often enough, right? Because you're a Mason doesn't mean you're a scumbag, right? However, Masons, in my humble opinion, are the start of secret societies, and I think that the guys on the bottom rung, right, don't really know what's going on. I think it's not something that you really get an idea to until you get to the top echelons, much like the cult of Scientology, where you're into the OT levels before you find out about Xenu. I think it's the same thing. I think to find out about those inner secrets of the Freemasonry, you're going to be up around those 32nd and 33rd degree Masons, right? All the people at the bottom, they just get together and they have a few drinks. Honestly, I think a lot of that is harmless. But then from within there, they start to get you for other groups. So they recruit from the Masons. And from the Masons, you become, whatever a Shriner, right? And that's when you start getting a little bit dicier, because now these people are going out, they're partying. There's a lot of prostitution. There's a lot of gambling. It's a lot of really twisted kind of stuff. And from there, you can be recruited to other organizations. Might want to check out the Royal Order of Jesters. They're a hell of a lot of fun. My girlfriend and I did a bunch of stuff on that. You can, it's fairly interesting stuff if you really want to know the truth. It's a sex cult. Call it anything you want. It's a sex cult. We'll be revisiting this. I promise you we will, because it is a very, very interesting subject matter. You know what? How would you feel if I did a show on this? Honestly, how would you feel if I did a show on this? Have you ever researched this stuff at all? Because you want to talk about a humiliation ritual? Are you familiar with what the ritual is to get into that? Allegedly? Allegedly, it's a lot like what happens with Diddy. No joke. Maybe not to the same extent, but they're definitely doing something that more often than not probably goes against their normal sexuality. Avena sativa. Pretty gross, isn't it? On the bright side, we actually did some damage to those shit wagons. No joke, we did. We got their attention. Diddy was in a secret society for black people. Forgot the name. Would that be the Boule? Are you referring to the Boule? And is he in it? I know that they say he is, but that it is a secret society of sorts, but it's a fraternity. It's a black fraternity, and maybe he's in it. I don't know. I really don't. I know that there are some very wealthy and powerful black folks in it. Yeah, they're creepy. Make no mistake, they're creepy. I saw firsthand some Wayans brother debauchery in the back room of a club when I was in my old club days. Interesting, the connection with J-Lo. With everything coming out daily, they behave badly. Oh, I believe that. Oh, I believe that. You gotta love this. I see a lot of rappers wearing pink. It's not a trend. It's a shame ritual. I think you might be right. Honestly, I think you might be right, because it does seem that they're dressing very country club almost, right? You see a lot of pink. You see a lot of like sleeveless sweaters and things of that nature. Personally, I rock pink. You have no idea how many shows I've done in pink. I like the color, but I'm also probably a little bigger than the next guy. You know what I mean? Very disturbing cult. The rabbit hole goes very deep. Yeah, Brock Bandy, no question. You don't, no medical degree, Panda Kelly? I have been sick for 4 days. I feel a lot better today. Here we go. I honestly believe money can buy your way out of anything. Diddy is no different. Well, if you believe wholeheartedly that money can buy you out of anything, send me an email, right? TommyScoville@gmail.com, and I will take a little wager with you, and I'll give you 10 to 1 odds that this guy ain't getting off. He's not. And I agree with you, by the way. This is not a stupid thing to say by any stretch of the imagination, Dead Cell. I think it's a very intelligent thing to say. However, I think there are parts, right? There comes a time when you've gone so off sides that they can't save you. And when that happens, when you're too far gone to save, they burn you out. You get a burn notice, and they decide to destroy you. And when they do, they take down a lot of people go, right? How about old Harvey Weinstein? Allegedly, everybody on planet Earth knew what was going on with this stuff. Allegedly. Nope, when I see Diddy in that pink suit, all I can think about, hold on. Oh, you know what? Yes. The Knights Templar initiation was pretty disgusting too. The ISH has been going on for thousands of years. I am not familiar with their initiation ritual. I bet I'd be close. I could probably tell you at least what's going to happen, because where it ends up anyway. See Mike Rinder cancer fight? Scientology almost got sucked in. Not sure why it hasn't been stopped. Seems like a lot of cults. Remember the young guy who escaped safe with his grandmother? I am not getting into that. For people that know me, I was kind of really active, and I still am to a degree, in fighting Scientology. I hate that cult, right? The Mike Rinder thing, I'm not going to get into any of that. But what I will say is this: I bought into the fact that this dude didn't have cancer, because there were people out there that were saying it, and I wish I hadn't. It was at a time when it was at a time where I wasn't doing a whole lot of research or anything like that, and I regret that. I regret that. And again, it kind of gets back to my thought process of, From this point forward, I'm going to default on the other side of that equation. I really am. It's embarrassing as crap to think. Now, I didn't make videos saying that he didn't have it, and I'm glad about that. But I did believe in and sort of believe with these people. Barbara Waite says, and I think with a little bit of solid, right? I think this is solid. When your usefulness is up, your arrest makes your handlers look oh so good. His usefulness is done, right? MGK is under Diddy's label, to be sure. Another one is OTO, the Ordo Templis Orientalis. That would be the cult that Aleister Crowley was sort of famous for frontlining, as was L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons. They were all into the sex magic that went along with that, right? Sex magic. If he gets out on bail, you can guarantee no more lawsuits are filed by any new victims. Isn't that absolutely a fact, right? Absolutely a fact. And Lorraine and everybody else listening, we all believe that, don't we? Put a 0 up in the chat if you believe what Lorraine just said. If Diddler gets out on bail, you can guarantee, right, that no more lawsuits are going to be filed by any new victims coming forward. Do you believe that? If you do, put a 0 in the chat. I believe that. Chicago Big Dog. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, see, everybody's kind of in agreement, right? Yeah. Okay. So everyone is in agreement. I think we can agree on that, right? Everybody's in agreement. Okay. Why would you think for a half a second the judge wouldn't be? Right? He's seeing stuff we're not. You think the judge doesn't see this? Honestly, does anybody really believe that? Because I promise you, people, these judges aren't stupid. They're not. And they're also afraid of people getting really pissed off. They're afraid of people getting really angry. Do you guys remember a name? Willie? Is it Willie Schumann? Willie Shoemaker? Willie Sutton? I can't remember the name, but it was a guy from, I believe, Massachusetts, and he was let out by Walter Mondale. And Walter, he went out, he got let out, right? And then the man went and reoffended and arred and killed somebody, if my memory is right. And it really hurt him. Politically, it absolutely hurt him. And politicians now are terrified of having that moment, that Willie moment, where you put somebody out that's going to absolutely destroy the rest of your life. K-Dubs, thank you so much. Look at that, man. There are a bunch of people that just turned green. You know what? A lot of people have been in that pose. Are you talking about the one with a lot of people have done that pose. A lot. And I'll tell you what, how many times have you seen Jay-Z wearing a sweatshirt that has Crowley on it, doing that pose with the diamond on his head? Wow. Wow, look at that. Joe Rogan had on that dude that murdered someone weeks later. I heard about that, Barbie. I heard about that. However, you can platform a jackass and the person then goes out and bumps somebody off. It's probably not your fault. But if you let that cat out of jail, right? If you step forward and go, I think I'm going to pardon this guy. Or you step forward and say, this new law is going to let out any of the people that have done this, this, and this. And one of them gets out and 3 days later R's and kills somebody. They killed your career along with it. No one's ever going to forgive you for that. It's going to take you down. And they are all afraid of that. I promise you. Oh, wow. Do you see this? Allison Metcalf Palumbo. almost 2 hours in, Allison Metcalf. We'll just start from the beginning. All right, everybody. Places. I am Tommy, and you were on the lifeboat. Glad you showed up. I'm kidding. We're going to find out on Monday, Allison Metcalf Palumbo. That's basically the bottom line. We're going to find out on Monday. Dukakis running against Bush. You remember, huh? All right. Isn't that funny? I hope that that's the truth. Page 666, sorry, is reporting that Diddy sent Shine Barrow a cease and desist over his documentary. Well, I'll be damned. That would be fantastic. That really would be fantastic. And why wouldn't he, right? Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Oh, the ones with the hands on his cheeks. Yeah, Jonathan, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Could be a coincidence. I don't think so. I don't think so. People are super, there's this fascination with him. If you type in Jay-Z and put with a plus sign on Google and then put in Aleister Crowley, you're going to see him wearing a bunch of shirts and sweatshirts and stuff that have him on it. Why would you do that? I mean, it's just a rock thing. I don't know. I really don't. But I'm not a huge fan. Why are people so afraid of Diddy, says Monica Larimore. Thank you, Christy Hughes. I'll tell you why, Monica. I'll tell you why. Because allegedly he's been bumping off people, right? He has been bumping off people left and right who have gotten in his way. This is what is alleged, right? And I did a show where he's talking about all of the people that have been unalived, and it's about 16 people that died really odd deaths. Like the people that dated Kim Porter, right? After they broke up, the guy that dated Kim Porter died. Everybody that gets anywhere near this dude, it seems like he's not afraid to take people out. And it's sort of like this unwritten rule thing. Tommy, thanks so much for taking the time to talk and answer questions. It's really a gift to feel heard and included. Well, thanks. I love that. I really do. I love that. This is a channel where the audience is a very large part of what I do. And if that were ever to stop, I would quit. I would. This to me is more fun. And I know a lot of people hate going live because anything can happen, and it starts to be, I love it. I love the fact that we're working without a net. I love the fact that anything can happen and that we got to go on the fly. And, for the most part, this has been an amazing run. There's been a few days that weren't so great. Been a few days that weren't so great, but it's all good. It's all good. Well, I'll tell you what, Toby, one of the guys that worked security for Diddy almost died. And as it turned out, he had some poison in his system. And this is not the only guy that is tested positive for poison in his system. And what's the deal with that? What is the deal with that? Yeah, I have the greatest chat in all of YouTube. Sorry, I will brag about my chat till the end of time. I don't brag about me much, but I promise you I will brag about my chat. We have the best chat. I know Tommy won't say it, but I will. How come 584 in chat and under 300 likes? Well, thank you, Aaron Card. You know what, people? I would love it if you would do that. And I'll tell you something else. Please hit the subscribe button. There's a lot of you that don't. Believe it or not, about half of you. What is it? Is it the Italian thing? For real? Is it because I'm Italian? Or is it the convict thing? I mean, I don't blame you. If it's the convict thing, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to follow a convict or whatever. But do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. It's kind of a report card, right? And it makes the people that hate me really mad. The higher that number gets, they're gonna literally jump off of a bridge when I get that silver play button. Chat is great because, thank you, Crucial Flow. That's a very kind thing to say. It really is. Yeah, Wolf was around him for years, right? Wolf lent him cash. Wolf allegedly lent him hundreds of thousands of dollars to help get his machine off the ground. And when he started pressing and wanting his money back, well, what do you know? He got unalived. And then Diddy allegedly lied to his family. I mean, lied to Wolf's mom, allegedly, right? And said, I didn't know that man had no money. I didn't know that guy had no money. It's really messed up. Really a messed up thing, isn't it? My brother is awesome, Vampy. If you've never checked him out on his channel, you should. He does some really incredible stuff over there. It's called Chase the Heat. If you got a wrench, throw that up there. Hey, Mayor's Girl. Yeah, throw up a link if you could to Chase the Heat. And you'll probably see my brother more during the holidays as well, because we put up a lot of content during the holidays, and I'm going to trick him into doing a lot of it on the lifeboat. Honestly, he loves being over here. Why would the judge reschedule until Monday? Because he's going to take the entire weekend to look over everything that he has and everything that has been filed, so that when he makes a ruling on this, it's not going to look like something that was flippant. It's not going to look like something that he didn't take a whole lot of time, right, in the process of looking at. And this has to happen because we're on record and we don't want any of this stuff to get fouled on appeal. And I know it's frustrating that we're not seeing more people getting arrested. And I said in the beginning, this is going to drive you all nuts. It's going to drive you nuts because we're not going to be able to see inside the courtroom, right? I do not think there's a chance, Lulu. And I'll say it again. If he gets bail, Sauron has the ring, and this is all bets are off. All bets are off. I love STS Nation too. It's a great channel. Joel is fantastic. Ron is not eating the peanuts yet. I'm going to give you guys a heads up for when Ron is going to do his Johnny Scoville's Tube of Terror, the hottest peanuts on planet Earth. And I'm not throwing that out lightly. I promise you, these are the hottest peanuts on channel. I mean, it's pretty rugged stuff. It is pretty rugged stuff. Yeah, I agree with you. I said this to somebody earlier. Like the door shut and he looked at his assistant and went, like, there's a chance I'm giving this fool bail. Like there is a chance I'm giving this fool bail. No chance. No chance. I think he's laughing too. I really do. Look back at all the ones with the strange unaliving stories or out of the blue pneumonia death. Fun pneumonia, right? Fun pneumonia. Too many got too close to the truth or were too loud or had the you-know-what to say, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book. The judge is making diss tracks. By the sound of it, he needed the weekend to make a good diss track. I like your theory better than mine. I really like your theory better than mine. You know what, Jane Aldrich? My son is amazing. Spanx Calhoun is, he's amazing. He really is. My son has been like that since he was 4. I'm not kidding you. He's been just an old soul his entire life. It's been absolutely amazing. He's going to need a gallon of milk and a lidocaine oral rinse. Nothing like a gallon of milk. Should see me try to chase it. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, Chase the Heat is Johnny's channel, and you'll like it. It's a lot of fun. You are watching the Pascal Show. Producer for Sean Atwood reached out to him on a live. Maybe you will do a show together. There's a decent chance. There is a decent chance. I will be doing some interview stuff on over on the Sean Atwood program. I'm really looking forward to that. Pro tip: if you've had lap band surgery, do not attempt ghost peppers. You will pay for hours. Wow, that's a frightening concept. Good piece of advice is maybe stick to jalapenos, right? I hold the world record for the fastest one of these tubes ever eaten. And I want to tell you something. It almost put me in the hospital. It hurts so badly. I mean, it didn't literally, but it hurts so damn bad. Caitlin, I'm sure Spanky will be better by the morning. You know, he usually he bounces back quicker than most. So I have high hopes. Alrighty, people, you can bet the farm. You can bet the farm that we will talk about this on Monday. And then this will be debated ad nauseum over the weekend. And you know what? Don't buy into the hype. Please don't buy into the hype. Don't let people get you cranked up that he's walking out on Monday, because the truth of the matter is nobody, right? Nobody knows whether or not he's going to walk out, right? There can be no way to be sure. There can't be. He's not getting out. I'm just telling you, man. I don't think there's any way at all he's getting out. I don't. It's too logical. Just like everybody here said, man, if he gets out, no one's going to file again because they're all going to be what? Afraid of him. They're not going to let this dude out so that the people on the street can be scared. Cooter by the Lake says, what about Jamie Foxx? Was that Diddy? Well, Jamie Foxx said it is, right? That's what he said in his new comedy show. He said he got poisoned, right? Diddy wanted to take him out. He got poisoned. That's what he said. You think he's kidding? I don't know. You watch it and tell me if you think he's kidding. I don't think he's kidding. I don't. I think he got poisoned. You ever go to the hospital? Of course you have. You ever have to stay in the hospital? We're all kind of old. You probably did. Did the cops show up? Huh? The feds show up? Not usually. Usually when you go to the doctors, nobody stops by to check on you from the feds. Like your brother's channel, but I'm better looking. You know what, Dubs? I think you nailed that. I think you nailed that. There's just no arguing that. He's probably smarter, but I'm definitely better looking. Yeah, good trio, right? The three Scoville boys? Absolutely, absolutely. Boule says the system is corrupt if he gets out on Monday. You're damn right. You're damn right. If he gets out on Monday, all bets are off. For real. If he gets out on Monday, I'm predicting he walks. I really, really believe that. Oh, man. No, I'm a Bangkok baller. I did a lot of damage to myself. I did an awful lot of damage to myself. I really did. But you get off long enough and you get a decent amount back. Like I have a decent amount of snap, you know. But when I quit, I was pretty slow on the uptake for a long time, man. Who chose the Scoville name first? My brother. My brother Johnny was the first to take the Scoville name, and he named me before I got out of prison. When I got out of prison, I found out I was Tommy Scoville. I prefer it. Tommy Scoville's never done anything wrong, man. Tommy Scoville's never been to prison. I love Tommy. I'm not a big fan of the guy he replaced, but I dig Tommy. If he gets bail, I'm done with laws, right? And I will do as I please. Well, you got to get a lot of money first, though, Mr. Rowe. You got to get a lot of cash first, because if not, you're just going to spend a lot of time locked up. I am Sassy Savage. I am absolutely blown away at the people around me who, the people that who support me. I have the greatest support group ever, and it's not just family. I have people that support me on like 600 different levels. Some people send emails, some people, but everybody keeps me in this game. I promise you. I promise you. What a nice thing to say. Hi, I love the channel. I watched today while painting the house. Nice. But I had to climb down from the ladder to see if I heard right. No, he's not going to get bail. You're okay. You're okay. I promise. He's not going to get bail. On Monday, we're going to hear. Just doesn't make sense, people. Again, if he does, we're in trouble. I'm going to do a live Monday. Kensington Gore. I promise. I'm going to do a live Monday. I promise. Thank you, Hula. That's a very kind thing to say. I'm better now than I've been in a long time. I lost a few steps, but drugs will do that. I'm blessed. Most of the people that I did drugs with aren't all there anymore. Sadly, it's one of those things that does take a toll on you. And I got a lot of friends that just aren't there. In my opinion, you're fearless. Allegedly. Thank you, Billy. I really appreciate that. Alrighty, folks. I'm going to call this a day. Johnny Scoville is going to be going live on Chase the Heat at 5 o'clock. You guys might want to go over there and check that out. That's 5 o'clock. It's about 50 minutes from right now. Johnny will be going live. And you might just see me later on tonight. Might want to look for me at, say, 6 o'clock California time. There's a decent chance I will be there. Claudia, I'm hoping you're not having trouble with the feed. So far, everybody's been doing pretty good here. All right, folks. That's the news, and I'm out of here. Between now and the next time I see you, reach out and try to save somebody. Bye-bye.